my God, hello.
Hi.
Hi. How are
I'm
you?
so sorry. It wouldn't let us join.
No, did I do okay? Did I give out any? I don't know if you were watching, but it was.
I was more frantically trying to join with you, so I didn't hear
Incredible.
things. But we can start over if you.
Yes, I was just answering some questions. I can tell you what I've told people out here. Okay, so also, but first, introduce yourself. Hi,
Yeah.
I'm Lindsay. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Lindsay. My name is Julia Bluffin, the marketing coordinator for University Housing. I use she, her pronouns. I am part of the crew that helps plan move-in, that sends you information about move-in. And we're just here to answer all of your questions about move-in and really kind of generally describe housing and then help you prepare for Mustang Move-In because we are literally days away now.
Which is so exciting. Are they doing it on the street when people are like welcoming students? Are they doing that?
So it's usually the orientation leaders who
Yeah.
help out with that, and they still might be doing some waving, but I think we're concentrating a lot on getting you all into housing. So you might see some signs, and it's customary to see some folks welcoming you in. But no matter where you see those folks, if they're on campus, we are all here to welcome you on your move in. No matter where, all the volunteers are here to welcome you.
For those of y'all who are about to move in, it is one of the best weekends in SLO, and it's just so fun, and there's just so much energy and just like so much happiness, and y'all it's a big thing to look forward to. Just to tell you what I've already said, I have not really said much. I was just answering questions that people had submitted. Storage under the beds in Yosemite, I said that risers weren't allowed when I was there.
No, risers aren't allowed. So Yosemite tends to have lower to the ground beds, as does Sierra Madre sometimes. The furniture can vary a little bit from room to room sometimes, but there is generally speaking, we recommend that if you're bringing a storage container, it maybe is max 2 foot, so it has greater versatility for where you're putting it. Also, Yosemite and Sierra Madre tend to have most folks in those areas are in doubles, even if they're in a triple configured room. So you're going to have some room to put things up against walls, even if it doesn't go under your bed. But yeah, I would say that the towers, which is Cal Poly lingo for Yosemite, Sierra Madre, because they're residential towers, tend to have beds that are lower to the ground. So like a standard bed, like a home bed. So a little bit lower than the lofted beds. You are right about lofting beds or bed riser kits. We just want to make sure that those beds are safe for you. So we don't want you to take them apart or alter them or elevate them in any way that we can't guarantee that it's still a safe bed for you or anybody who comes after you.
Right. Yeah. I lived in Yosemite actually. So Yosemite Tower 4. Let me know if you're assigned there. Actually but you mentioned something that was a great segue to the next question that I attempted to answer, but I did not know the answer to this one. If they say you're in a triple, but only 2 people are in the room, are y'all removing the third bed?
We aren't removing the third bed. We're going to keep those in place, but you'll just have an extra furniture set, and there will probably be a bunked bed that you just can choose not to use.
Okay. Will they keep the third desk or like the second desk?
Yeah. The furniture is still going to be in there. So you'll have an extra wardrobe or closet, depending on what it is. You'll have extra storage. And yeah, you can use the furniture. We can't remove it just in case things change. No. We got to be flexible.
Honestly, that's like, if that's y'all's situation, if you're watching this, also there are so many people on right now. So hello, if you have extra furniture, you're in good hands. Like I use it, and that's actually such a win for you. So, yay. Okay. A question I also didn't know the answer to, because I think this is probably pertaining mostly to Yaki Tutu. I thought I read somewhere that there are lockers in the bathrooms. Does each student have their own locker in the bathroom?
Yaki Tutu lockers are communal, and they're for temporary usage. So they're essentially for using when you go in the shower, you want to keep something a little bit to the side and leave it there. So they are communal. You will bring your own lock for those.
Okay, incredible. From my personal experience, to anyone watching this, I'm not saying like just take this as my personal experience, but when I lived in Yosemite, it was like the most safe and just trusting place. Like we left our door unlocked when we left. That really is just kind of the community vibe that you get at Cal Poly. That's, I think, really unique to our community. And so if safety is like your biggest issue, take a deep breath. I promise, like, people have left their $100 calculators out and people are like, oh, hey, you forgot this. Or I personally have never had anything stolen and I've left things unlocked, so don't worry.
Yeah, I think all of the communities, we always have a lot of interest in Yaki Tutu because I think it's the newest.
Right.
But I think all of the communities have something different and great about them. I love, you mentioned the towers. I love the towers too, just because it's not just every single tower that has its own identity, but every single floor in the tower has its own identity. So it's like Tower 4, floor 1 is, and that's your floor, and everybody on floor 1 of the towers knows each other, and like all of the communities have something a little bit different just based on the layout that is really nice about it.
My friends that, you know, we're all 5th years now, I actually still live with all of my first year friends and roommates, and people always are like, oh, which one did you live in, you know? And it really is such a community wherever you lived. So like y'all are in such great hands, and I've only heard great experiences from each of the different residence halls. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Well, I do want to dive into Mustang Move-In because you said it's right around the corner, which is again so exciting. So could you tell us a little bit, actually not just a little bit, would you tell us about Mustang Move-In?
Yeah, and just to recap a little bit, last week we sent out invitations for you all to book Mustang Move-In appointments if you're new students. So new transfers, new first-year students can go into their portal, as their housing portal, as of last week, and book a Mustang Move-In appointment. Lots of interest in day one, and that filled pretty quickly, especially for Yaki Tutu. But if you haven't booked a Mustang Move-In appointment, do it now, so you can book an appointment. We ask that all students book an appointment. And you can continue to monitor the reservation arrival time and make cancellations, change your appointment if you see one that you would prefer that comes available, if you just want to switch it around. So yeah, do that soon, because that is how you get into Mustang Move-In, which is September 14th and 15th for our new first year and transfer students. Based off of your appointment, you are sent an automatic confirmation that has your Mustang Move-In pass. Print that and take it with you so you can show the folks as you're entering campus. And that is your Mustang Move-In pass. It has the date and the time that you reserve for, and then try to stick to your Mustang Move-In appointment. It's how we filter traffic in throughout the day. So we try to avoid situations where you're waiting too long to move in, but we have the whole system planned out. We call it an airport style move-in, where we get students as close as possible to their communities. And then we unload your car in your drop-off zones, get everything into our big green moving bins, and then you push it over to your community to check in and get your keys. Your supporter, who's ever driving the car, then takes the car from the unloading zone over to long-term parking, and then meets you back over at your residence hall so they can help you with move-in. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of coordination. So based off of your assignment, you'll probably notice that you're separated into different zones on campus. That's where your drop-off point is. And something to keep in mind is based off of your building, you will be assigned a separate campus entry point. So if you are in Yosemite, Sierra Madre, or Yaki Tutu, you will enter campus on Grand Avenue. If you
I'm just like getting flashbacks. It's like
if you are in the in South Mountain, North Mountain, or Cerro Vista, or if you're one of the very, very few transfers or who's in Poly Canyon Village, or Intel campus on Highland Drive. Very important to go to the proper entry point for your community, because you cannot get to the other entry point for the center of campus. The center of campus is closed, so make sure that you go to the right drop-off point for your community.
That is I would say one of the funky things about Cal Poly is that there are really only like 2 points of entry, and it's like they put a lot of thought into this. So trust their system. I promise it's gonna make life like so much easier for everyone. I do have a few questions here. So all right, we're just gonna go down the list. What is our address on campus?
So some of the addresses are kind of standard on campus, but what I would do is wait for campus mail services to let you know that your campus address is available. They let you know on September 1st what your campus address is. Some of them are unique for Yaqui Tutu. And then you can start mailing things. So September 1st is when students get notified of their campus address, and when you can start sending things to campus.
Incredible. Is there a limit to how many supporters you can have move in?
At the moment, there hasn't been any notifications. Last year we did limit folks to 2 people based off of public health conditions. It could potentially change, but just kind of look for some updates in case there are some limitations going forward.
Incredible. Is there any way I can move in sooner as a sophomore?
As a second year?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just reading the question.
Yeah, of course.
What it was, but yes.
Yeah. So continuing students move in the 17th through the 19th. And we do prefer that folks come in on their particular day, specifically because your housing contract does start on that particular day. We do have some exceptions for students who just have no way of moving in on a particular day. And if that's the case, email housing, and we'll see if we can come to some sort of arrangement.
Incredible. Is it true that we, it says, is it true we can go after 5 on the 14th if we didn't get one for that day? I'm not entirely sure if I understand the question.
Yeah, so September 14th filled very, very quickly.
Okay.
And because of traffic management, we really want to make sure that students are booking for open and available times. Okay. So if you were if it's at all possible for you to come on an open date and time, that's going to be the best way to make sure that you have the help and the support and the check-in stations that you need. And then if you are not able to make an appointment for a date and time that, like, if you simply cannot make it, then email housing and we can again try to help you as you come onto campus.
Okay. If you live, wow, there are so many questions. This is such a pop in live stream. It's incredible. If you live off campus, can you get a meal card for reduced price food, or so you have to live on campus?
I'm not sure I understood that one.
I'm also not sure, but I think, if you're living off campus, basically all a meal card is it's a declining balance. It's basically a debit card. So if you don't live on campus, if you have, whatever money you have, it works the same as a meal card. So there isn't necessarily any, food doesn't necessarily cost less from what I remember if you use a meal card. So there's that. Do we have any WOW activities on the day we move in?
So WOW does start on September 15th, and I think they're starting to get folks together at that point. I'm not sure exactly what they're planning, but they may have some programming towards the evening. But for the most part, the first 2 days are like move-in is move-in, and then WOW begins. I think they're just kind of consolidating on day 2, but that's a better question for WOW. So I would point you to WOW for any WOW specific questions. But I think there are some stuff that's happening that evening, the evening of day 2.
And y'all can reach out to Cal Poly New Student and Transition Programs for those kind of questions. On move-in day, do our parents have to leave right away once we're all moved in, or do they get to stay for a little while?
It's kind of up to your group. Some folks just get set up and then split apart. Some folks make the weekend of it. So it's really up to you all. Once you get here, though, there's a lot of stuff for students in particular to do. There's also some events for parents, but right after you move in, there's just going to be a lot of stuff going on campus, a lot of stuff going in through orientation that you'll want to participate in. So it's really up to your family.
My personal experience, I moved in on the Friday of move-in, and WOW stuff started Sunday. For all y'all watching, all 71 of you that are on right now, you're going to realize there's going to be a lot of things that you're like, shoot, I want that. You're going to see someone having the drawers that you're like, shoot, those would be so helpful. You will be making Target runs. You'll be making runs to Bed Bath & Beyond, all that stuff. It is crazy town. That is one thing, is so many people are like, shoot, I need a tower fan. I forgot this. I need that. It's like a whole process. It's not just going to happen in 1 hour. So don't worry about rushing it. And like my parents were around for, I think, the next like day or two. And they just, everything we forgot, and we were putting together furniture, and parents help other students move in. So if your parents do have to leave, other parents and supporters are super, super kind in helping get everyone in. So it's really a community support thing. So if your parents are still there, like they're going to want to help you. If your supporters are still there, they're going to want to help you get adjusted. So don't worry being like, like get out. No, it's not like that. It's, you want to get adjusted, you want to settle in, and it's a whole process. So that's my personal, and my roommate's parents were like the same. So, are we free to live in the dorms apartment after moving in?
Yeah, once you move in, it's your space. So yeah, you don't have to go off campus for any portion of time. Once we give you your keys, that is your home for 9 months. So you're welcome to stay.
What happens if you were late to your check-in?
We turn you away. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so do try to arrive at the date and time that is on your pass. If you're a little bit late, sometimes you can't avoid it. Traffic happens, and we understand that. So we'll still get you in, but just make an effort to arrive at the date and time. But don't worry too much. If you're a couple minutes late, or if traffic holds you up, we'll still be around.
Can we find the map for early move-in date zones?
Maps are going to be posted a little bit later this week. So keep your eyes on the Mustang Move-In page, and you'll see Mustang Move-In maps for new student move-in. It just depends on your community. So there'll be one for folks moving in on Highland Drive, and one for folks moving in on Grant Avenue, and one for early move-in programs.
Sorry, I'm laughing at Jackie's comment of, we sent you to Cal Poly Pomona. We do not do that. You're slow bound once you're here. There is a question. I think it's good to reiterate this. Can we come in a little earlier for move-in? Is a question.
We do want you to come on the date and time that's on your appointment. Again, that's for everybody. We structure move-in so that there are only so many people coming in at the time that we can handle in our move-in zones. So we really want you to make sure that you try to get here at the time that's listed on your move-in pass, because that's just going to be the best way to have a move-in experience that is pleasant for everyone.
Do you recommend getting a stool to get onto the bed?
Sometimes, yeah. So if you're in a space that has like a lofted, elevated bed space, so there are drawers underneath your bed, those can be a little high. So a little stool doesn't help. So it doesn't hurt. It helps.
One thing that I can't get across to people enough is that Target and Bed Bath & Beyond and all this stuff, they're going to be absolutely wild. Jackie put in the chat the shelves at Target, there are hangers everywhere. Like I don't know how they handle it. I think they have to like prep. But if things are running out or you're a week in and you forget something, you can 100% get things like shipped to your dorm. Like you have your own package pickup area. So like I would order things from, Amazon Prime, and it would get there in 2 days. So you're in good hands. If you forget things, don't worry about it. Do we have to move out of the dorms during winter break?
You don't have to fully move out. That's still your space. Winter break. Sorry, I'm going to plug myself in here. Winter break is not included in your housing contract, so students do go home for winter break, and the buildings do close down. We do offer winter break housing if you need it, and if those are the cases, then we move students to a different part of campus, so you aren't completely alone in a building all by yourself with no students. So we do offer winter break housing. You do have to sign up for that, but Otherwise, students go home for winter break and they leave their things in their spaces, and we just shut the buildings down. So when you come back, your space is still as it was.
I know, at least from when I lived there, you have to do like cleaning. It's kind of like it's nice to come back and you're like, oh my God, my room is clean. So you will have like a checklist of things that you need to make sure things are unplugged and, you know, like, things are neat and tidy. But honestly, it's for your own benefit. So
yeah, take the trash out, make sure that you don't have fruit in your mini fridge, things like that.
Yeah.
And then we also do safety checks during winter break just to make sure like the windows are closed and all of your doors are locked. So we go through and check every single room during winter break just to make sure that everything is safe and sound for when you get back.
It's, you know, it's kind of fun. It's like spring cleaning and it's for your benefit. That way you don't come back and there's like a moldy apple sitting on your desk. All right. How often are the dorm bathrooms cleaned?
It depends on what area you're in. Most of the spaces are cleaned at least once a day. Last year during COVID, we did increase cleanings in our residence hall bathrooms. So at least once a day for almost all residence halls. The only exception is North Mountain because it has a different bathroom setup. In North Mountain, the bathrooms are they're shared bathrooms, but they're attached to your room. So custodians come in, I believe, twice weekly, at least once weekly. I can't remember off the top of my head, but once or twice weekly if you're in North Mountain to clean those spaces.
Also, make sure to say thank you when you see staff. They're the nicest people and they're part of the, you know, like they're part of our Cal Poly community. So make sure you say thank you, say hi. They're really, really just the best people. If there are 2 desks under one of the bunk beds, can one of them be moved to another spot in the room?
Oh,
they're connected actually.
Okay, so I'm trying to picture it in my head, and I think what you're talking about is what we fondly refer to as the mega desk, which is a giant desktop that is split into 2 different spaces. That is actually attached to the bed, so you can't pull it out and switch it around. So that one does stay underneath the bunk. Generally, though, if things are movable and like freestanding and you want to move them, you're welcome to move them. As long as you don't take anything apart, again, so we can make sure that all the furniture remains safe for any resident that's in that space. As long as you so you can move things that are freestanding as long as you put them back at the end of the year. So I would take a picture of your space when you move in.
Is the move-in process just that was explained is the same process for those moving in September 12th?
No, it's a little bit different. So there are some students who are part of an early start program that have an early move-in date. So they have to be on campus a little bit early. So there is a program called CORE. They're moving on September 12th. So those folks are going to have a different space to check in. There's a lot fewer of them, so we don't open up all of the drop-off zones and all of the move-in spaces. And there will be a separate map that you'll follow when it's posted online.
Incredible. In Sierra Madre, do you get a key card or a room key to access your room?
Both. So most of our residence halls, Yakichuchu is a little bit different, but most of their students who are living in other spaces will get 2 things. They'll get an access card that gets them into their building, and they will get a brass key, a physical hard key, that gets them into their bedroom. So most students have 2 sets of keys. Yakichuchu has what we called a proximity card. So it's just an access card that gets you both into your building and into your room.
Yes.
Keep an eye on those, by the way. There are so many people that lock themselves out week 1. So just make sure that you have both your access card and your brass key with you at all times. Yeah. A lot of our communities, the doors auto lock behind you unless you specifically push a button on the jamb of the door that leaves it open. So just know how your door works, know that it can auto lock behind you, and always have your brass key. Otherwise, you're going to be going to your front desk quite a bit during the first week or calling the RA on call to let you back into your space.
Yeah, and in Yosemite, when I remember, I might have been me or might have been my roommate, we got locked out of the room, and we have to go to the community center to get our spare key, but you need the card. And so, you know, we're walking down in our towel, hoping someone's going to open the door for us. So it was a whole thing. But people are nice, and they'll help you out. So, all right. When should we look to apply for move-in times?
Move-in times are already open. Well, if you're a new student, move-in times are already open. If you're a continuing student, then they will open up a little bit later this week on the 23rd. But otherwise, you can already book in your housing portal under Mustang Move-In.
Incredible. Are you okay? So this is like a repeat question, but are you allowed to loft/lift a bed higher to accommodate a desk underneath?
You should not loft your own bed, and you shouldn't put them on risers as well, just because we want to make sure everything is safe. So don't take apart your own furniture. If you do need your bed modified in some way, you can put in a request for that in your housing portal, and we can see if it's possible for the room space that you're in. Sometimes it's not possible. And we will send a carpenter out to take apart your bed and put it back together.
Incredible. Is there a mini fridge in the room?
Mm-hmm. Every single residence hall has one mini fridge. If you're in a quad in Yakitutu, there are 2 mini fridges in those spaces.
In the room. There are mini fridges in the rooms, yeah.
In the room, yeah. And if you're in an apartment because you're a transfer student, or if you're one of the first years that we have in apartments, then there's not mini fridges in your room. Instead, you get a full refrigerator in the kitchen.
Yeah, you get your own full-size fridge. Incredible. Do we need to? Oh, but microwaves. That's a different question. Can you talk? No, I haven't seen a question about microwaves, but that's an important one. Can you talk about microwaves?
Because of we ask that students not bring anything with a heating element, particularly in our res halls. You have a little bit more leeway if you're placed in an apartment to bring kitchen appliances, but if you're in a res hall, we ask that you don't bring anything with a heating element. So that means please don't bring any coffee makers, please don't bring any hot plates, or tea kettles, electric tea kettles, and microwaves. You can imagine everybody warming up their coffee at 8 o'clock in the morning, would just overload our electrical system. So we already have appliances for you in residence halls. All of our communities have a community kitchen. There are also microwaves and coffee makers throughout our community. So most floors have a microwave, or one in the common space that you can very easily access, so you can use them 24/7 if you need to, although be mindful of the folks around you if you're popping popcorn at 2 o'clock in the morning. There's only one res hall community that kind of is an exception to that rule, and that is North Mountain. North Mountain, because it's a community that exits to the outdoors and doesn't have immediate access to a community kitchen, so they go into a neighboring building to use the community kitchen. Those rooms all have a microwave in them already, so they're there for you to use, and you don't need to bring one.
Incredible. I'm seeing a lot of questions about like what people should bring. Is there like a checklist of, is there like a resource that maybe Jackie you can tag in the comments or something of what they should bring versus what Cal Poly provides?
Yeah, we have a list of what to bring and what to leave behind, which is also important. I mean, generally we say pack light. You will need a lot less than I think you might need, especially in the res halls where like you also have at least 1 or 2 other people with you who are going to bring other things as well. So coordinate with your roommates about things that could be communal items. But we have a list on our website on the Mustang Move-In page of what you should bring and what you should leave behind. So I would refer to those. We also have, all students should know where they're living at this point. So you can go onto our housing pages for the residence halls and see a room layout for what's in those spaces. Keep in mind that every single room has a couple of items that are standard throughout. So everybody gets a twin extra long bed, everybody gets a wardrobe and closet. There's a mini fridge in every single room. There is drawer space. It might be allocated a little bit differently depending on where you're at, but every student gets drawer space and every student gets a desk and a chair.
Incredible. Okay, a question about vacuums and trash can / recycling bins.
Yeah, they are already there. So we have trash cans in every single room for you to use already, that you can dispose of outside of your residence hall. So we have large receptacles outside. And then vacuums are available. It depends on where you are. Some of them are available on your floor. Some of them you check out at the front desk, but they are there already.
If you are someone who likes having something like handy, we had a little hand vacuum, just like that we just kept plugged in, and we could just, any little spill. So you have to we had ours on the second floor closet, so we didn't have to keep going and finding it. So, yes, the mini fridge does have a little freezer in it. Yes. Can we bring detergent, the powdery kind, for apartment laundry?
I'm actually not sure about that question. I think you can, although I think strips or pods tend to be preferable.
Yeah. Pods are easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tend to be easiest. There's a whole bunch of different ones that you can get. You can get super eco-friendly strips and things like that. And I think that's what most students use. So I would recommend pods or strips or something.
Also, I just saw Jackie's comment. Jackie works in the Welcome Center with me, and she said that she ends up dating her desk manager after getting locked out so often.
Hey.
That is Cal Poly love right there. If we put in a request for the beds to be adjusted, how long does it take for maintenance to follow through?
It depends on how many requests are in the line and how urgent those requests are. So we go through, and there tends to be a lot of requests just after move-in for folks getting adjusted. So it can take a little bit of time. And then they're going to prioritize folks who have really, really urgent needs first. So we make sure any overflowing toilet is taken care of before anything else. So it can vary. It just depends on when you make the request. Usually they're pretty good and get things pretty quick, but it can take sometimes a few days, sometimes up to a week for non-urgent things.
Yeah. To reiterate, no microwaves in your actual room unless you are in North Mountain, and do not bring any hot plate or things like that. You have space to make food, don't worry. Let's see, can we move furniture in our dorms around
if it's movable? So don't take anything apart. And some of the rooms are configured in a very precise way, so there isn't a lot of leeway to move things around. But if it's something small, like a drawer, you're welcome to move things around as long as you put them back at the end of the year.
Okay, so I saw a question, how much storage space do we have under our beds? And we also, a good point that was also raised with some of our question was, are we going to have space in our rooms to leave our luggage?
So bed space underneath the bed can vary by community. The beds in the towers tend to be a little bit lower. Red bricks sometimes have higher beds. Also, some of the communities have drawers underneath the beds already. So keep that in mind and look at the layout for your particular community. So just go onto the residence hall page and you can see more information. Generally, we suggest that you don't buy any storage container that's over 2 feet tall, just in case you have some limitations in terms of size. So it's just more flexible if you have kind of a smaller, lower one, as opposed to a super high one. But it depends on your community. What was the second question? Sorry.
Oh, it was just because it sounds like as international students, are we going to have space in our rooms or dorms to leave our luggage?
Yes. You might need to get a little bit creative, but there is some storage space in certain areas. So a lot of people put things underneath the bed, especially luggage. In the red bricks or South Mountain, there is storage space above the door as well. And yeah, I mean, you'll have space. You just might need to get a little bit creative in terms of where things go.
One, just I think I've kind of mentioned this, so we've had this conversation, but once you get here, I think there's kind of this breath of fresh air where it's, if you really need something and say your neighbor looks like they have some extra space, the people at Cal Poly, I cannot stress this enough, are just the most, it's one of the best communities to be a part of. And I know that kind of sounds weird, you don't even really know these people, but just that environment right off the bat, everyone wants to help each other make this a wonderful experience. And that's just the really overwhelming environment and community that you're going to find. And so if you need something, if you need extra space, looks like someone else has something, or if you need to borrow something, definitely, like from my experience and from so many other students' personal experience, ask, and it's not even a big deal. So that's just something that I promise you can, that's like my guarantee, is the people are wonderful and you can definitely ask for help. Let's see. Well, there are so many questions. Are transfer students guaranteed parking spaces if they take their cars?
That is definitely a much better question for parking. It's a different department on campus, so I would reach out to them at parking.calpoly.edu for some of the specifics about parking on campus for transfers.
On the question of should you get a printer or where are printers available, in the library, there are some in the University Union, and you can get like money loaded onto your poly card and things like that. So I had a printer, but if you need to use one on campus, it's super usable, and you have access to it. Also, if you're like an engineer, I believe you get free printing. Subtle flex for engineers, but do you have anything on printers that you recommend?
If you are considering bringing a printer, so it's not necessary to bring a printer because you can find printers on campus if you want. But if you do want to bring a printer, I would also recommend maybe coordinating with your roommates to have like a community printer for your room, and then like splitting the cost of ink.
Absolutely. I had friends using it, like our printer, literally all the time. It's still the same way now. I again live in an apartment complex with a ton of my friends, and we have like the communal printer. Okay, this is actually a really good question because when I lived there, I didn't. So, does it cost money to do laundry? And do we have to bring our own stuff to do laundry? Sorry, did I cut out?
I heard the question. It did cut out, but I heard the question. So money, laundry is included. So you do not need to bring a giant roll of quarters. You can just use the laundry facility. There is at least one laundry, like there's usually one laundry room for every building, or if not your building, then it's the building next door. So you never have to go that far to use a laundry room. You do have to bring your supplies though.
Yeah. And I never, like, even if you're, you need to do laundry at kind of a busy time, I think I maybe had to wait like once. So don't worry about like, planning your laundry and stuff like that.
There's also a laundry monitoring system that we have. So it's called Wash, and it monitors the usage of our laundry machines. There's a website where you can check to see if there are any machines that are open and how much time they have left on those machines. So you know when your machine is done, and before you go if there are that are not currently cycling.
That is new, and that is very cool. I am very jealous. Let's see. Are there safes in the room to lock things up?
There are not safes in the room to lock things up. Some communities might have a drawer that you can lock. I think there are some desks in Yakututu that might have like a little lockable drawer. But if you do want to bring things that you want to kind of keep safe, you can bring just like a little personal lockbox for yourself, a little personal safe for yourself. Lots of students do that, particularly if they're bringing like personal documents, like things that they might need, like employment documents, because a lot of students their first year get jobs on campus. So if they're bringing any personal documents that they just want to keep safe, they have those in a little safe that they bring with them.
I see a lot of questions on air conditioning.
Let's talk air conditioning. This would be a good time to talk about the importance of bringing a fan with you, because our buildings do not have air conditioning. San Luis Obispo is generally a very temperate area. Most of the year we don't need any air conditioning, but I always say that the universe has a sense of humor, because the first move-in is always pretty hot, and it can be a little bit toasty the first month and a half that we're on campus. So I would recommend bringing a fan for the hot days so you can keep the air circulating. And I would also recommend that you potentially bring that fan from home, or have it mailed to you once your campus mail is activated, because the entire city can run out of fans on move-in weekend.
It's such a thing. Y'all, get a tower fan wherever you are. The tower fans, they don't take a lot of room. They're tall and skinny. You can get them at Costco. They're great. I made the mistake of, well, I think I might have brought one with me, but we were like looking for a second one or something, and they literally were out. Like Home Depot, we went there and they were like, sorry, like we just do not have fans for you. So bring them. You might think, oh, well, to get one there, that's the one thing that you probably got to take care of before you get there. That's so important. Let's see. If housing isn't taking calls right now, but our request for transfer is due tomorrow morning, what should I do?
I'm assuming that it's a room change request. So our staff has gone home for the day. we take calls from the 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So there's no staff at the moment to answer that question. I would just do my best to call as early. We open again at 8 tomorrow. So call at 8. If it is about a room change request, you can ask to speak to the person up in assignments to get your questions answered. Or you can email us. I think you'll probably have to, I think that's how you respond back to that particular request. So go ahead and email us a question, or try to get in touch with us as soon as possible since we're closed for the night.
Incredible. Yeah, people want to go home and have dinner, I assume. So if y'all want to send in any of your last questions, because we are going to wrap up here in a little bit. So go ahead and send in your last questions and we'll get those answered. But do you have anything that you'd like to leave our students with? Any last final reminders, anything like that?
Yeah. So Mustang Move-In maps come out later this week. Be sure that you read your Mustang Move-In map for your community, so you know where you're going on campus and you know how to get your supporter here. So give that map to whoever is driving and make sure that they get here at the right campus entry point, so we don't have to turn you around and put you back on the highway, so you can come around to the right space. Also, my general, I have two things that I tell everyone. One is, your roommates at this point, so start talking to them if you haven't already. Reach out, start those conversations with them, get to know them. You'll feel like you have someone that's already in your corner when you get here, and you already know somebody who's here. Also start having conversations about, open conversations about expectations. I always like to think about, there's what you consider late might be different from what someone else considers late. What you consider noisy might be different from what somebody else considers noisy. So just start having conversations, if not before you get here, then near when you get here, about what the house rules are for your space, and have everybody agree to them. Talk about your lifestyle, talk about what works best for you. Be flexible, and respect your roommate. And just put your expectations on the table, and just be flexible and come to some agreements before anybody has any disagreements about anything. So what late is, what the guest policy is, what people are comfortable with in this space, because it's their home too. So I would say talk to your roommates, start getting excited to meet them, have conversations about what you can share, have conversations about what you're hoping life is going to be like when you have there, so everybody can get on the same page. And then my second tip that I always recommend, aside from bring shower shoes, is, we talk a lot about housing, but students actually spend a lot less time in their room than I think they think they're going to. And that's what we want, we want you to explore campus. Get out there and explore this wonderful place that you're calling home for the next 9 months. So your home isn't just your room. Your home isn't just your res hall. This entire campus is your home. And there's so much to do, especially your first year here. We want you to get out and explore the space and find clubs and, join campus events, and do things. We have lots of things for you to do in housing, but all of campus has opportunities for you to get involved your first year. And very oftentimes, the folks that you find within your first 2 years here are the folks that kind of carry you through the rest of your Cal Poly career. I went to grad school here about 10 years ago, I still talk to the people I went to school with almost on a daily basis, and they're still very much involved in my life. So like this is an opportunity for you to kind of make your Cal Poly family. So take it and get out there and do things and find those folks who make being here just so much a richer of experience.
I second that wholeheartedly. And, you know, like I said, I live with some of my best friends from freshman year, and my other friend group is a bunch of people from the triathlon team who I met when I was a third year. So it ranges, but just dive in. Don't be hesitant to, you know, jump in. Just dive in. Everyone's.
You can find, like, whatever your interest or hobby is, you can find somebody here who loves the same thing.
I don't even know how to ride a bike, and I'm friends with people on the triathlon team. Like,
yeah. Last year, and I don't know if the club is still here, but like 2 years ago, there was a hammocking club on campus.
Yeah.
You know, like people who just like to hammock in the wilderness. That's such a niche thing to like form a club around, but people love it and people do it. So there's a club for that. And, you know, you can find people who love what you love. And absolutely, if there's not a club for it, then start it. Yeah. So find your people. That's always my little soapbox that I get on every single time.
I like to say that we're a school of 20,000, but it feels like we're a school of 2,000. So that's my line. Okay. So I see some of these questions. Just to let y'all know, if you have to leave or you hopped in late, we went through a ton of questions earlier, and this was actually being recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube playlist and our Instagram TV live thing. So a lot of these questions, like we've talked about, but no worries, because if you don't want to go through the entire video, as of now, I believe that we said that there is no limit to supporters that we can bring to help us move. There
hasn't been any announcements yet, okay, but things can change, especially now. So keep an eye out if there's any updates.
When asking about like WOW schedule, check out NSTP. They should be sending you information, and if you have questions about WOW, go ahead and reach out to like Cal Poly New Student Transition Programs, and they can help you get that sorted out. Yes?
Yes.
To find out best laptops for a major, honestly, if you have questions kind of like that, I mentioned this at the very beginning, hop onto our Cal Poly like Facebook pages and ask questions there. I bet you there's a Cal Poly Engineers Facebook page where you can message, say, hey, what is everyone's preferred laptop? And you will get like 5,000 answers from people who will give you the best advice. So that's my advice on how to give advice. Let's see. I believe, well, that seems like that's all the questions. Wow, we did so much. That was a full out. That was incredible. Wow, thank you so much. I think that is all the questions we have. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
And for all of you have so much information, so much. I'm glad this was helpful for y'all. Yeah, there were so many people on today. Wonderful. So thank you so much. If there's anything, is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I think we covered it all. Yeah, just look out for emails from housing in the next couple of days and weeks for reminders, and be sure to study your move-in maps so you know where you're going day of.
Absolutely. If y'all have any questions once you're here, do not hesitate to ask the person next to you. Ask anyone who's wearing any like Cal Poly, they look official. They want to help you. That's just the vibe on our campus, is how can I help you make this easier? So that's all from us. So I will let you go, and then I will wrap up here. So thank you so much. Thanks for being here.
Hey there, my name's Rafael. I'm a fourth-year journalism transfer student with a minor in Spanish, and my pronouns are he, him, his. Thank you for watching the video. Please share any questions or comments you have down below in the comment section. Click here to subscribe, and to watch more videos, click here. If you want to sign up for a campus visit, we're offering in-person and virtual options, so check out our website. Link in the description. Thank you for watching.